The rain had started as a fine mist on the bus, then grew into a steady curtain by the time Maya reached the hotel. She stepped down, careful with the small box in her bag and the folded note she had written by hand. Her clothes were simple and neat. She had chosen them for comfort, not style, because she had traveled for hours. Her shoes were still damp from a puddle near the curb. She brushed a strand of hair from her forehead and looked up at the building. The hotel sign glowed like a crown above glass doors. She took a breath that was half nerves, half joy, and walked inside. Warm air greeted her in the lobby. It smelled faintly of jasmine and fresh polish. A grand chandelier threw bright stars across the marble floor. People in evening dresses drifted past like slow waves. She heard the soft run of a piano from the gala hall and the click of camera shutters. The hotel felt alive, but also distant, like a stage that belonged to someone else. Maya adjusted the strap of her bag, checked that the note was dry, and made her way to the front desk. She had a small plan in her heart. Her husband, Armin, would arrive later. She wanted to leave the note in the little private lounge he loved, along with the small gift she had saved for. The front desk was busy. A line formed and moved in small steps. Behind the counter, the supervisor wore a perfect smile that did not reach her eyes. Her name tag read Lena. When it was Maya's turn, she offered a calm greeting and explained, in simple words, that she would like access to the private lounge because she had a booking connected to her husband's suite. She kept her voice friendly and low. She did not mention who her husband was, she did not think it was important. She believed a booking record would be enough. The hotel had always seemed well run. Lena gave her a quick look from head to toe and nodded mechanically. Name and reservation number, she asked. Maya gave her name and the suite name. She added that her phone battery was almost empty, but she could show the confirmation if given a moment to charge. Lena's fingers paused above the keyboard and then hovered, as if the effort to check was too heavy. The private lounge is for VIP guests only, she said. We follow strict rules. Her tone was cool and flat, like a door closing softly. Maya kept her smile steady and repeated that the booking was under her husband's name and that she only needed a keycard to set a simple surprise. A couple in formal clothes joined the line behind her. Their perfume floated forward. One of them glanced at Maya's shoes with a curious tilt of the head. Maya did not look back. She asked Lena, more gently than before, if the system could be checked. The name will be there, she said. Please. She explained about the gift, and the note, and the small moment she hoped to set up before her husband arrived from the airport. She did not ask for anything free. She did not ask to be treated as special. She only asked for what the booking already allowed. Lena's smile thinned. Please step aside, she said. We have a gala tonight. We cannot let people wander. She raised her chin at a bellhop and added, we have brand image to protect. Maya felt the words but refused to let them bruise her. She opened her small purse again and searched for the printed confirmation, which she had left on her kitchen table by mistake. Her phone gave a tired blink. 1%. She turned the screen toward Lena anyway. A snapshot of the reservation email flashed and then went dark. If I could charge for just a minute, Maya tried, I'll show the full email. Or you can look it up. A man in a suit, with the clipped steps of someone who liked his authority neat and visible, approached from the side. His name was Rafiq, the badge said duty manager. He had been watching from a distance. He took his place beside Lena and listened for a few seconds, then asked sharply, is there a problem? Before Maya could answer, Lena said, non-guests seeking access to VIP area. No proof. Gala in progress. The summary was short and cold. Rafiq nodded, as if the matter were already settled. He turned to Maya with a professional smile that felt like glass. Ma'am, we have policies. Please visit a more suitable hotel across the road if you wish to wait. Maya's throat tightened for a second. She pressed her fingers around the edge of the note in her bag, feeling the soft paper steady her. "I am not here to wander," she said. "I am here to leave a note in my husband's lounge. Please check the booking system. My husband's name is on the suite. We have the lounge." Her words were slow and respectful, each one placed like a small stone, building a path anyone could follow. She looked at Rafiq, searching for a sign that he would simply do the routine task of checking the screen. He did not move. "Security, please assist," Rafiq said into a small radio. The word assist sounded polite, but it pulled the air out of the moment. A concierge named Bilal, who had been polishing his lapel and pretending not to hear, stared down at the floor. He knew the system could be checked in seconds. He had seen the suite name appear on the VIP arrivals board earlier that afternoon. He felt the tug of conscience and let it pass. He adjusted a pen instead. A housekeeper pushing a cart paused at the corner of the desk. Her name was Salma. She had seen Maya step in from the rain with gentle eyes and careful steps, the way people move when they carry something dear. Now she watched the scene build, quiet and heavy, like thunder in the distance. Salma gathered her courage and spoke softly. "Madam, if you wait near the pillar, I can ask someone from reservations to come," she said. "It will only take a moment." She addressed Maya, but her eyes asked Rafiq for permission. He did not grant it. He turned slightly, not enough to face her, and said, "Housekeeping should focus on rooms, not front desk decisions." Two security guards approached in dark suits. They were not rough, but their presence changed the shape of the lobby. It told every guest in sight that a line had been drawn and someone was standing on the wrong side. Maya felt her heart knock once, twice. She lifted her chin. "I can wait quietly over there," she offered, pointing to a small chair half hidden behind a tall plant. "I will not disturb anyone. Please just check the system. My husband is on his way." Rafiq folded his arms. "We don't seat non-guests," he said. His words were calm. His eyes were already past her, counting tasks he found more worthy. The piano from the gala kept playing, an elegant tune that did not match the mood growing in the lobby. The couple behind Maya leaned to whisper. One of them said, "Some people try to slip in on gala nights." The other replied, "Security is important." The words floated into Maya's ears and fell away. She did not carry them. She looked at Salma and offered a small smile of thanks for her kindness. She looked at Bilal and hoped he would speak. He stared at a key box as if it were a painting he could learn by heart. Maya realized that help would not come from this counter, not tonight. She thought of Armin then. She pictured his tired smile after long trips, the way he always first asked, "Did you eat?" before anything else. She thought of their early days when money was thin and time was thinner, and they had shared a single plate and laughed anyway. She had promised herself to keep that spirit, even when life changed. That promise was a quiet fire inside her. It kept her steady now. "Thank you for your time," she said to Lena and to Rafiq. "My name is Maya. If you do check the system later, you will see I told the truth." The words were simple. They were the only ones she owned in that moment. One of the guards gestured, open-palmed, toward the doors. "This way, ma'am," he said, in a voice that was not unkind. Maya nodded. She did not argue. She did not let the moment turn into a scene. She gathered her bag more carefully than before because of the note and the small box inside. She made sure the note was still dry. She pressed her lips together and bowed her head to Salma in thanks. Salma's hands tightened on the handle of her cart. "I am sorry," she whispered. The words were thin but sincere. They reached Maya even above the lobby hum. Maya took the last look at the desk. She saw a screen that could have answered everything in 5 keystrokes. She saw a policy used like a wall, not a guide. She saw a hotel that felt proud of its light but did not notice when it shaded someone standing right beneath it. She wondered if anyone here would remember her face when the night was over. She let the thought pass and walked toward the wide doors, step by step, as if moving across a shallow river, careful not to slip. The doors opened on the wet world. Rain drew silver lines under the entry lights. The sound was soft but endless, like a secret that the city could not stop telling. Cool air touched her cheeks. A doorman held an umbrella out of habit, then lowered it because, in his mind, she did not belong to a guest. Maya paused under the edge of the awning and adjusted the strap again. The fabric of her sleeve clung to her skin where drops had found her earlier. She hugged the bag closer to keep the note safe and the gift steady. She felt the heavy warmth of her heart and the lighter warmth of her purpose. One of them was hurt, the other was whole. She did not cry. She did not allow the lobby to enter her the way she had entered it. Instead, she gathered herself around a choice: she would protect the moment she had planned. Perhaps not in that lounge, perhaps not in that hour, but she would not let it die here at the door. She looked out past the rain and saw across the street the yellow window of a small cafe. It glowed like a lantern left for travelers. She thought of tea, of a chair, of a plug to borrow for a few minutes so her phone could open the proof no one had wanted to see. She took a breath that reached her toes. Behind her, the lobby continued its music and its talk. A few guests watched from a comfortable distance. Salma stood very still beside her cart, a quiet witness. Bilal straightened a stack of maps and told himself that keeping the line moving was also a kind of duty. Rafiq made a note in the incident log with tidy handwriting. Lena opened a new check-in and welcomed a glittering couple as if the world had righted itself again. The hotel lived inside its own idea of itself, for now. Maya stepped off the dry line of the awning and into the rain. It found her face and cooled her skin. She did not rush. She walked with the same careful steps she had used upon arrival, only now they felt lighter because they moved away from a place that had closed its doors to her heart. She kept the bag close to her side. The small box did not rattle. The note did not bend. She did not know that the man she loved had already landed, that his feet would soon cross the same marble where hers had paused. She knew only this: kindness does not shrink when it meets a wall. It looks for another door. Tonight, the door would be found under the rain. Maya crossed the street with the rain rolling off the edge of her umbrella like a thin silver curtain. The cafe's doorbell chimed as she pushed it open. Warmth and the soft hiss of steamed milk surrounded her. The windows were fogged in soft circles, and the glass showed a quick mirror of her face, calm but a little tired. She smiled at the barista and asked for a cup of tea. The barista, a young woman with kind eyes and a name tag that read Sarah, noticed the damp note peeking from Maya's bag and the small gift box wrapped in plain paper. "You can sit by the outlet," Sarah said, pointing to a corner table. "Your phone can charge while you rest." "Thank you," Maya said. Her voice reminded her of an old song, steady and low. She found the outlet, plugged in her phone, and watched the tiny battery icon wake up. She set the gift and the note on a napkin and pressed the napkin corners down so they wouldn't curl in the humid air. The tea came with a little saucer of sugar. She wrapped her hands around the cup and felt the heat move through her fingers into her chest. Outside the window, the hotel's bright sign glowed like a lighthouse. It looked close enough to touch, yet very far from the feeling she carried now. Her phone blinked to life. A flood of earlier messages appeared, then settled. She opened a new one: to Armin, "I reached safely. I'm nearby." She paused, then added, "I'll wait here for you." She did not explain what had happened. She didn't want to paint his first hour back with the color of the lobby. She wanted to give him a moment of peace before any storm. She pressed send and breathed out, counting to 4, the way she did when she needed the world to move a little slower. A child in a red raincoat sat 2 tables away, drawing on a paper placemat while his mother answered a work call in a hushed voice. The boy's crayon slipped, and the paper slid to the floor, almost under Maya's chair. Maya reached down, picked it up, and smiled at the boy. "It's a brave boat," she said, pointing to the crooked triangle on the water. The boy nodded seriously. "It's going through a storm." Maya pointed to the cloud he had drawn, dark and round. "Storms are loud," she said, "but boats are stronger than they look." The boy smiled and pressed harder with his crayon. His mother mouthed "Thank you," and Maya nodded back. The small exchange lifted something inside her, like a window opened for air. Across the street, the hotel doors sighed open and closed, letting in bands of rain and streaks of perfume. Armin stepped in quietly, no entourage, no announcement. He wore a simple jacket, the same one he used on every trip. Travel had put a soft gray shadow under his eyes. He paused for a second at the threshold and took in the lobby with a single practiced glance, the chandelier's steady shine, the gala's well-dressed guests, the front desk's tight smiles, and a hum that felt a little too proud. He did not look up at the sign with his family name, he never did. He looked at people. He moved to the front desk as if he were just another traveler with a question. Rafiq, the duty manager, was speaking to a bellhop with brisk satisfaction. "Handled it already," he said, tapping a neat note in his incident log. "We can't be soft on gala nights. Standards." His voice carried the light ring of someone pleased with his own hard line. Armin waited a polite moment, then asked, "Good evening. Is there a manager on duty?" Rafiq turned, offered his perfect professional smile, and said, "You're speaking to him. How may I help you?" Armin kept his tone mild. "I overheard something about a situation. I'm curious how you approach such cases. It helps me understand your training." It was an odd question, just odd enough to make Lena, the front desk supervisor, straighten her shoulders. "We follow policy," she said quickly. "No exceptions. We protect the brand." Armin nodded as if taking notes in his head. "Would you show me the incident log," he asked, "and the booking system for the involved parties? I'd like to learn, if you don't mind." Rafiq hesitated for a fraction of a second. The night was busy. But the man in front of him spoke with the calm of someone used to being answered. Also, the question had the flavor of an inspection. Rafiq gestured toward a side terminal. "We log everything," he said, pride pushing him forward. "Transparency is important." He turned the screen slightly so Armin could see without stepping behind the counter. The incident log displayed a crisp sentence: "Non-guest asked for VIP lounge access, no proof, refused to leave, escorted out to maintain brand image." Armin's eyes held steady. "Do you also save camera clips for teaching moments?" he asked. Lena answered, "We can." Armin said, "Let's do that, please. And let's bring up the booking system for that hour." He did not raise his voice. He did not hurry them. He simply made the request sound ordinary and required. Bilal, the concierge, watched from a respectful distance. He felt a small twist in his chest. He remembered the woman's calm face and the careful way she had held her bag. Her words had been plain and clear: "Check the system. We have a booking." He had said nothing. He told himself again that it wasn't his desk, not his call. He told himself that moving the line along had helped more people. The twist did not listen to these reasons. It sat tight under his ribs and waited. The camera clip loaded first. In the grainy video, Maya stood with her simple bag and the small gift box. The rain had dotted her hair and darkened the cloth at her shoulder. She kept her hands still. She spoke, then waited. The clip had no sound, but anyone could read the shape of patience and the shape of refusal. One of the guards gestured. Maya nodded and turned toward the doors. Even pixelated, her exit was dignified. It left the screen and walked straight into Armin's chest. He kept his expression quiet. He looked down at the booking screen, which Lena had finally pulled up. A list of VIP arrivals, right there in neat rows. His own name and suite sat near the top, flagged for the private lounge. A secondary note named Maya for early access to place a handwritten message. It was exactly as Maya had told them. It was also exactly what they had refused to check. Armin inhaled once, slow enough that no one noticed. Then he said, as if reading a timer, "Good. Please save the clip with a timestamp and mark it for training. Also, preserve all relevant logs. Do not edit anything." Lena glanced at Rafik. He nodded. "Of course," he said, a shade less confident. "May I ask who you are?" Armin smiled the same mild smile. "Someone who cares about process," he said. "I like to see how our values work on a busy night." He scanned the staff badges. Who else observed the interaction? Bilal felt his name rise in his throat. He stepped forward. "I was present," he said. His voice was even. "The guest asked us to check the system. We were, under pressure to manage the crowd." Armin turned to him. "Thank you for answering," he said. "Do you remember anyone trying to help the guest?" Bilal's eyes moved to Salma, who stood near a pillar with her cart, watching in case the moment needed a towel, a glass of water, a human hand. "Housekeeping offered to call reservations," he said. "But we asked them to focus on rooms." Salma bowed her head slightly, as if she had stepped on a soft echo. Armin nodded to her. "Thank you for trying," he said. She blinked, startled to be seen. The gala music rolled on, elegant and distant. A photographer's flash popped like distant lightning. Armin took a small step back from the desk and made 2 calls with brief words. The first was to HR and legal, "Please come to the lobby. Bring the standard compliance packet and a neutral witness. No noise, just speed." The second was to the Security Control Center, "Preserve all footage from 6 p.m. onward. Lock the deletion queue. Confirm by text." He ended each call with "Thank you." He never said his name. He did not need to. The numbers he dialed and the way he spoke made the rest clear enough to those on the other end. He returned to the desk with the same quiet face. "I'd like to read your guest service manual while we wait," he said. "The part about verification and dignity." Rafik fetched a folder with plastic sleeves. His fingers were steady, but his breath had a new shape. Armin opened to a page marked with a green tab. The words were simple: verify before judgment, protect dignity, assume good intent, escalate with care, never let appearance replace evidence. He placed the manual on the counter between them. "It's a good page," he said. "Do you use it?" Rafik answered as if sitting for an exam. "We do," he said, "but in high-pressure nights, we must protect the brand." Armin touched the manual with one finger. "The brand is people," he said, still mild. "If this page becomes a poster and not a habit, we have a problem." He closed the folder and returned it. Meanwhile, in the cafe, Maya's phone had climbed from 1% to 28%. She opened the reservation email fully and checked the details, not because she doubted, but because reading the words steadied her. The lounge code. The suite note. The simple sentence, "Early access authorized." She tucked the phone beside the gift and drank the last of her tea. Sarah came by with a clean napkin and a little plate of biscuits. "On the house," she said. "You look like you're holding 2 stories at once." Maya smiled. "Maybe I am," she answered. "But one of them is still a good story." A group of gala guests crossed to the cafe for a quick coffee run, their laughter light and easy. One of them looked at Maya's gift and said, not unkindly, "Someone will be lucky tonight." "I hope so," Maya said. She thought of Armin's tired smile again. She imagined him in the lobby, asking for a cup of tea, greeting the doorman by name, tipping the pianist with a quiet nod. She did not imagine him standing at the front desk with a manual open. She did not imagine him watching a clip that held her inside it. She did not know, yet, that the rain had carried her across a line that the hotel could not cross back without help. Back in the lobby, HR arrived a woman named Farah, small, precise, with a calm that made people keep their voices at the right size. Legal followed with a slim folder. Armin met them near the pillar, away from the crowd. "We'll keep this simple," he said. "We will listen, review, and act. No spectacle." Farah nodded. "We're ready," she said. "Do you want names now?" Armin glanced at the desk. He saw Rafiq's square shoulders, Lena's careful posture, Bilal's eyes that looked like he had swallowed a question, and Salma's steady hands. "Not yet," he said. "First, we will complete verification." He looked once more at the manual page in his mind, verify before judgment. He would follow it, even now. He asked for a copy of the booking note printed and sealed. He asked for a time-stamped capture of the VIP board. He asked for the incident log with all edits highlighted. He marked the CCTV clip. Each step was routine, but together they formed a careful bridge from what people said to what happened. This bridge, he believed, was the only way to carry a culture safely from one side of a mistake to the other. Rafiq's voice stayed calm as he complied, but the pride had gone out of it. He felt the shape of the night change. He looked at the chandelier, at the polite pool of light it cast, and wondered if he had stood under it so long that he mistook brightness for rightness. Lena felt a small tremor in her hands as she printed the booking note. She remembered the moment when Maya had asked to charge her phone and she had said no. It had been such a small refusal. It had been the door closing. Armin checked the documents without drama. "Thank you," he said each time. He did not add extra words. He tucked the papers into a thin envelope. Then he turned to the glass doors and the rain beyond them. The cafe lights made warm squares on the wet street. He felt the pull of that warmth. He pictured Maya sitting with a cup between her hands, making room in her heart for both her and Grace. He asked the doorman, gently, "Did a woman leave earlier with a small gift?" The doorman nodded. "Yes, sir," he said. "She went to the cafe across the street." Armin stood for a moment and let the sound of the lobby move around him. The piano in the gala hall reached a bright part of its song, and a cluster of guests clapped softly. He slipped the envelope under his arm. "Farah," he said to HR, "please hold everything as it is for a short while. We'll reconvene in 20 minutes. Nobody leaves, nobody edits. Be kind to guests. Offer tea to anyone waiting. I will be right back." Farah understood more than his words. "Of course," she said. "We'll keep the air calm." He took a single umbrella from the stand by the door. He did not ask for an escort. He did not put on a show. He stepped into the rain the way he stepped into every hard moment he had ever faced, with a quiet decision to find the truth and stand beside it. The rain met the umbrella in a soft drumming. The street shone like ink. He walked toward the cafe, toward the light by the window, toward the person whose dignity mattered more to him than every chandelier in every lobby with his name on it. Inside the cafe, Maya folded the napkin over the note to keep it dry for the walk back she still hoped to make later. She didn't know that the walk was already starting on the other side of the street, that footsteps were crossing pavement with purpose, that two stories were about to meet and become one again. The child in the red raincoat held up his drawing and grinned. His boat had reached a bright patch in the water. "Look," he whispered to himself. "It made it." Maya smiled at the tiny triumph. Outside, a man lifted an umbrella and approached the door, carrying a thin envelope and a quiet storm of love and resolve that would soon change the shape of the night. The cafe doorbell chimed and a small breeze brought in the smell of rain. Armin stepped inside, shut the umbrella, and looked around the warm room. He saw Maya at once. She sat near the window with a cup and a small gift box on a napkin. Her hands were calm. Her eyes were tired but kind. For a heartbeat, the noise of the milk steamer and the soft talk around them faded. The world made space for two people to meet. Maya stood up. They did not rush. They held each other's gaze the way people do when words are not enough on their own. Armin set the umbrella by the chair and took her hands. "You're here," he said, simple and true. "I am," she said. She did not want tears, so she smiled. He saw the smile and also the thin shadow behind it. They sat. Sarah, the barista, brought fresh hot water for tea without being asked. She set it down and drifted away. Armin looked at the small box and the folded note with the napkin corners pressed over the edges to keep it dry. "Is that for me?" he asked with a soft laugh. "Yes," Maya said. Then, because she always told the truth, she added, "It was supposed to be waiting in the lounge. I wanted it to be the first thing you saw." Armin listened. He did not hurry the moment. "Tell me everything," he said. "But only if you want to." Maya told him in plain words. She spoke of the line, the front desk, the request to check the system, the refusal, the call to security, the kind look from a housekeeper, and the walk into rain. She left out adjectives that would sting. She did not call anyone a name. She did not add flames to the air. She said only what happened. Armin's fingers curled around the edge of the saucer. He did not interrupt. When she finished, he nodded once. "You were calm," he said. "You were patient." He paused. "And you were not believed." He took the thin envelope from under his arm and set it next to the gift. "I watched the clip," he said. "I read the log. The booking is there with your name for early access. Everything you told them was true." Maya blinked in surprise. She had not expected him to already know. "You were at the hotel?" she asked. He smiled, a little sad and a little proud of her even now. "Yes," he said. "I went in quietly. I wanted to see how the night felt before I saw you. I heard people speak about a situation. I asked to learn. I saw what they did not check." Maya let out a slow breath she did not know she had been holding. "I don't want a scene," she said. "I don't want anyone shamed in front of guests. I only want the hotel to remember what it says on its walls. Verify before judgment. Protect dignity." She looked at the rain on the glass. "If we can fix the habit, the night will heal on its own." "We can fix it," Armin said. His voice was steady. "We will do it right. We will be firm and fair. No anger, no noise. Only truth and action." He reached across the table, and she placed her hand in his. The child in the red raincoat waved his drawing at them, showing the boat in calmer water now. Maya waved back. The moment felt like a small light that could be carried across the street without going out. They stood. Armin paid for the tea and thanked Sarah by name. He picked up the envelope. Maya tucked the note and the gift into her bag. He opened the umbrella for the two of them. They stepped into the rain together, keeping close. The hotel sign shone above the street like a bright promise that had more work to do. At the door, the doorman straightened. Recognition flickered through his eyes. He reached for the handle, held it open wide, and lowered his head in respect. "Welcome," he said. His voice had a new shape, humble, careful. Inside, the lobby was a small city of light and motion. The gala music drifted like silk from the hall. Luggage wheels whispered across marble. The front desk buzzed. And yet, when Armin and Maya entered, the air seemed to pause for a tiny beat, the way a room does when a truth is about to be spoken. Armin did not raise his voice. He did not make a speech. He went to the desk and said to Rafik, "Please gather the on-duty leadership at the front desk." Include front office, security, concierge, and housekeeping. Ask HR and legal to join us on this side of the counter. Rafiq heard the tone and did not argue. He sent quick calls and messages. People began to drift toward the desk, curious and tense. Lena arrived first, smoothing her jacket. Bilal moved from the concierge stand, eyes steady but quieter than before. Salma came from the hallway with careful steps, hands folded. A security lead took his place with a neutral face. Farah from HR stood nearby with her small notebook and a calm presence. A junior manager from food and beverage hovered, unsure if he was needed. Arman nodded to each one. "Thank you," he said. "We will keep this respectful. Guests are welcome to continue their evening. This gathering is about learning and repair." Some guests slowed to watch from a distance. Others passed by, uninterested. The pianist in the gala hall slipped into a softer song, as if the music itself chose to be gentle. Arman turned to Maya in plain view of everyone and asked, "Would you share what happened, in your own words? No blame, only facts." Maya met his eyes and then looked at the small group of faces. She told the story again. The same simple words. The same steady tone. She ended with a sentence that fell softly and landed hard, "I asked to be verified. I was judged instead." Silence followed. It was not long. It was long enough. Arman held up the thin envelope. "The booking confirms early access for Maya to the private lounge," he said. "The incident log shows refusal without verification. The camera shows a guest who remained calm. Our manual," he touched the folder Farah had brought, "says verify before judgment, protect dignity, assume good intent. Tonight, our actions did not match our words." He turned to Rafiq. "Who decided to call security before checking the system?" Rafiq swallowed once. "I made that call," he said. His voice was not defensive now. It was honest and a little small. "I believed I was protecting the brand during a high-pressure event." Arman nodded slowly. "Did you consider asking for a charge cord to power a phone for 1 minute?" he asked. "Did you consider looking up the suite name?" Rafiq closed his eyes for half a second. "I did not," he said. "I should have." Arman turned to Lena. "When a guest asks you to verify, what is the first action you take?" Lena's hands tightened on the edge of the counter. "Check the system," she said, very softly. "Offer a seat if possible. Offer water. Keep dignity." Her eyes filled with the truth of hearing her own training spoken aloud. "I did none of that," she added. The words were small but clear. They did not ask for rescue. They only placed a fact on the table. Arman looked at Bilal. "What did you see?" Bilal lifted his chin a little. "I saw a guest ask us to check the system," he said. "I stayed silent. I told myself it was not my desk. I regret that." He did not try to soften it with reasons. He let the regret stand like a person. "And who tried to help?" Arman asked. Salma did not move, but her presence felt like a hand held out in a dark room. Bilal spoke for her. "Housekeeping offered to call reservations," he said. "She was told to return to rooms." Arman turned to Salma. "Thank you," he said. "You remembered the human being in the middle of a busy night." Salma lowered her head in respect, unsure what to do with public thanks. Kindness did not ask to be seen, it simply wanted permission to act. Arman stepped back so all could see him and Maya together. He did not step onto a small box or raise his hands. He stood at the same level as the desk. "This place is built on light and care," he said. "Light is not only chandeliers. Care is not only polished steps. Tonight we forgot that. We will repair it. We will not shout. We will not hide. We will act." Lena looked from Arman to Maya and back again. A thought flickered across her face. She saw the way the doorman had opened the door. She saw HR and legal standing lightly but ready. She saw the envelope. She saw the calm in Armin's eyes, the kind of calm that comes from real authority. The question formed and left her lips in a whisper that still reached the small circle. "Who are you?" she asked. Armin did not answer at once. He let the question hang just long enough for every person in the circle to truly ask it inside their own mind. Then he said, very simply, "I am Armin." A few people blinked, waiting for more. He added, "I am the CEO and the majority owner of this hotel chain." The words landed without force, because they did not need force. They were a fact. They brought the room into focus. The security lead shifted his weight. Rafiq's shoulders dropped. Lena's hand went to her name tag as if it could anchor her. Bilal's eyes widened and then steadied. Salma looked at Maya with quiet joy and relief. The truth had walked back in on 2 feet and stood beside her. Armin did not let the reveal turn into a spectacle. "We are not here for a show," he said. "We are here for standards that begin with respect. HR and legal will handle process. There will be consequences, and they will be fair. But before that, we will make one thing clear to everyone who works here and everyone who visits: our doors are for people. Our checks are for facts. Our hearts are for care." He faced the larger lobby, not to call for attention, but to make his next words part of the air. "If any guests saw what happened and felt uneasy, we are sorry. We will speak with you if you wish. We will offer comfort and resolve your concerns tonight." He nodded to Farah. She moved to set up a small side table with water, tea, and a quiet place to talk. It looked simple and strong. He turned back to the desk. "For the next few minutes, no one leaves this area," he said gently. "We will review roles and choices. We will preserve all records. We will not argue. We will not excuse. We will learn. Then we will take action." He looked at Maya. "Will you stand with me while we do this?" She met his eyes. "Yes," she said. "But promise me something." "Anything," he answered. "Promise me that the way we correct this will also teach," she said. "Not just hurt." He did not hesitate. "I promise." A guest in a blue suit came near, cautious but sincere. "Sir," he said, "I saw part of what happened earlier. I didn't know what to do." Armin thanked him. "You are doing it now," he said. "You are speaking." The guest nodded and moved to Farah's table. A violinist from the gala hall, on a short break, stood at a respectful distance and began to play a quiet melody, almost like a prayer made of notes. It softened edges without hiding the truth. Armin asked the security lead to bring a portable screen so they could review the training page together. He asked Lena to read the line about dignity aloud. Her voice shook at first, then grew clearer as the words came back to life in her mouth: "Verify before judgment. Protect dignity at all times." The line stayed in the air like a bridge they could all see now. It was not a wall. It was a way forward. "Thank you," Armin said to her. He looked at Rafiq. "When a leader is under pressure, the first thing to hold is the value, not the pride," he said. "Pride can blind. Value can guide." Rafiq nodded once, eyes wet but steady. He did not ask to be spared. He seemed to understand that honesty now was a kind of service too. Armin checked his watch. 10 minutes, he said softly to Farah. "Then we complete the process." Farah closed her notebook. "We're ready," she said. Everything felt set in careful order, the documents preserved, the people gathered, the truth spoken, the promise made. Maya stood beside Armin, the small gift still in her bag, the note safe and dry. She looked at the lobby that had sent her into the rain and now held a circle of listening. She saw Salma's quiet strength, Bilal's opened eyes, Lena's lowered chin, Rafiq's square shoulders learning a new shape, and the steady kindness in Armin's face. The night had turned. It had not broken. It had bent toward repair. The pianist in the gala found a hopeful chord. The rain outside softened to a hush, as if the city itself leaned closer to hear what would happen next. Armin took Maya's hand for a brief second, then let it go so she could stand on her own again. "We begin," he said gently to the group. And the room, bright and listening, waited for the first clear step into a better way. Farah from HR checked the time and gave Armin a small nod. The circle at the front desk drew a quiet breath as if it knew that a gentle line was about to be crossed from talking to deciding. Armin kept his voice steady and clear. He began with something that surprised everyone. He thanked the team for gathering, thanked the guests nearby for their patience, and thanked Maya for speaking calmly and plainly. He said, "We will match our words with action." Then he asked Farah and the legal officer to stand beside him, not behind him, because he wanted the process to be visible, not whispered. He asked Rafiq to summarize his choices in 2 simple steps. Rafiq did so without defending himself. He said, "I chose not to verify. I chose to call security." His voice did not wobble. It was the voice of a person who had decided not to hide anymore. Armin listened and thanked him for the clarity. He asked Lena to summarize her steps. Lena said, "I chose not to check the system. I chose not to offer a seat or a charger." The last words were very soft. She looked at Maya and added, "I am sorry." Maya met her eyes and answered, "Thank you for saying that." It was not an excuse. It was a small door opening to learning. Armin turned slightly so that the staff could see his face fully. "This hotel," he said, "cannot be a place where appearance speaks louder than evidence. It cannot be a place where a guest's dignity depends on clothing or timing or someone's pride. We have written values. Tonight we will protect them." He drew a breath and gave the first decision, shaped with care. "Rafiq, your employment with the hotel ends tonight for willful failure to verify, for escalating without cause, and for actions that do not match our training. HR will complete the formal steps now. You will be treated with respect during the process. This decision is firm." Rafiq's jaw moved once, then stilled. He nodded. He did not bargain. He did not raise his voice. Perhaps he felt relief that the night had given him a clear answer at last. Farah stepped forward, invited him to the side desk set up for private paperwork, and promised a final conversation with dignity. Armin turned to Lena. "Lena," he said, "your role at the front desk ends tonight. You chose not to verify and not to preserve dignity. Those choices break our trust." Lena's shoulders fell. She had made her own small summary moments ago, now the decision matched the truth she had spoken. Tears touched her eyes, but she kept her voice even. "I understand," she said. Farah invited her gently to the same side area for proper exit steps. A junior front desk associate slid over to continue serving guests, guided by the manual that had just been read aloud. The line did not collapse. Service continued, steadier than before, as if the room itself had let out a tight breath. Armin looked at the security lead. "Until we complete a review of the escort decision and the tone used, you are suspended with pay," he said. "Report to HR in the morning for a full review and retraining plan." The security lead nodded in acceptance. It was not a punishment delivered in anger, it was a pause for truth and growth. Armin faced Bilal next. "I appreciate your honesty," he said. "You saw something and stayed silent. Tonight you spoke. That matters. You are suspended with pay for 2 shifts while you complete a refreshed dignity and verification module. When you return, you will mentor others on speaking up." Bilal blinked, surprised at the second part. He had expected only the first. He bowed his head and whispered, "Thank you." It was the thank you of someone given a chance to do better. Armin turned to Salma, who stood with both hands on the top of her cart, looking like someone who had arrived at a new place without having moved at all. "Salma," he said, and the name itself sounded like a smile. "You tried to help when you had no formal power to do so. From this moment, you will serve as our guest dignity liaison for the night, with a temporary pay increase. You will be the person a guest can approach if they feel unseen. You will also have permission to ask any department for help." Salma's eyes widened. She placed a hand to her chest for 1 second, then folded it back over the other. "I will do my best," she said. "You already did," Maya answered softly, and the words settled like a warm shawl on Salma's shoulders. The lobby had become very quiet, not because people were afraid, but because they were watching a team become something new right in front of them. Armin addressed the nearby guests without grandstanding. "If anyone felt uneasy earlier, please visit the small table that HR has prepared," he said, pointing to Farah's setup with tea and water and a gentle chair. "We will listen and make it right." A guest in a blue suit moved there with a grateful nod. Another guest took a cup of tea, spoke quietly to Farah, and left with a calm smile. The hotel was already repairing the small rip in its fabric. Armin turned back to the assembled staff and named the next steps with the same careful tone. "Tonight, before midnight, we will hold a short dignity check huddle in each department. It will be 10 minutes long. You will review 3 things: how to verify before judgment, how to offer comfort while checking facts, and how to escalate with care. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., we will hold a longer training for anyone who wants to attend, and for anyone required to attend. I will be present. Maya will attend as a guest observer. We will answer questions. We will build habits that match our words." Hearing Maya's name in that plan made a few people glance at her with new respect. She had not asked to be the center of anything, yet she had become a steady point for the hotel's compass. He then asked the food and beverage junior manager to bring light refreshments to the lobby for any guest who had been inconvenienced by the brief pause. "Offer it freely," he said. "Not as an apology alone, but as a sign of care." The junior manager nodded and hurried to arrange trays of warm pastries and small cups of lemonade and tea. The pianist in the gala, seeing the change in the air, slid into a hopeful tune. It felt like a bridge between rooms, a quiet thread stitching things back together. Farah returned from the side desk and gave Armin a small clipboard signal that the exit process for Rafiq and Lena was complete. They would be escorted out with courtesy and privacy through a staff corridor, badges collected, emails deactivated, documents signed, dignity intact. There would be no public walk across the lobby. Armin had insisted on that. "We do not use exits to make scenes," he had told Farah earlier. "We use them to make clean lines." Before they left, Rafiq approached Armin and Maya. His face was pale but composed. "I am sorry," he said. "I forgot what the manual was for." He did not ask for a different outcome. Armin nodded once. "Learn from it," he said. Lena followed, eyes red but open. "I learned too late tonight," she said to Maya. "I hope the next person learns earlier." Maya said, "I hope so too," and there was no anger in it, only truth. With the decisions made, Armin shifted the room from consequence to construction. He asked the night shift supervisor from housekeeping to join Salma at the side table and to draft a simple one-page checklist for how to welcome a guest who looks tired, lost, or unsure. He asked Bilal, even during his upcoming suspension, to help write a short script for concierge staff, a script that began with a smile and the question, "How can I verify for you right now?" He asked the security lead to propose ways to escort with respect if escorting was ever truly needed, including the option to walk beside a guest rather than behind them, to keep voices low, and to offer a seat first if safety was not a concern. Each assignment carried both trust and accountability. People straightened. Pens appeared. The lobby became a workshop. Only then did Armin turn to Maya with the gentlest task of all. "Will you place your note in the lounge now, he asked. Will you let the surprise happen anyway? Maya looked at the small gift in her bag. The night had not gone as planned, but it had not broken. It had bent towards something kinder. Yes, she said. Let us not lose the good we came for. Armin offered his arm not as a show, but as a simple habit of care. They walked together toward the private lounge. Staff stepped aside with quiet respect. The doorman who had hesitated earlier stood taller and opened the door with a new understanding of what welcome meant. Inside the lounge, the air felt softer, like a held note. A small lamp threw a warm circle on a side table. Maya set the gift down and placed the folded note beside it, smoothing the edges so it lay flat. For a second her fingers rested on the paper, the way a person rests a hand on a railing before taking the next step. Armin watched her and felt something easy open in his chest. The room was finally holding the moment that the night had tried to steal. He whispered, "Happy anniversary, in the room you chose." She smiled and whispered back, "Happy anniversary, in the way we chose." They let the words sit without needing more. They returned to the lobby, where the work continued with a calm rhythm. A guest relations associate read the manual page aloud to two colleagues. The food and beverage team placed small plates with quiet smiles, not the showy kind. Farah updated a short memo that would go to staff in the morning, a clear account of what had happened and what had been done, written in simple language, with no sharp edges and no blurred facts. The legal officer finalized the exit documents and the suspension notices, all within policy, all with care. Armin stood once more before the small gathered team. "One more step tonight," he said. "We will start a hotline that reaches my office and HR directly. If you ever feel pushed to act against our values, or if you see someone judged before being verified, you will have a number to call. We will listen. We will protect those who speak. We will make corrections fast." Heads nodded. Something inside the team shifted from fear of being caught to pride in being counted on. He looked at Maya. "You asked me for a promise," he said. "To correct in a way that teaches." He gestured lightly to the living scene around them, the tea, the notes, the small groups, Salma with her new badge sticker that read Dignity Liaison, Bilal writing a line that began with "How can I verify for you right now," the security lead listing soft steps that kept safety and respect together. "This is the beginning of that promise." Maya took in the faces. She saw relief, focus, and a quiet kind of hope. She saw people deciding to be better, not because they were watched, but because they wished to be proud of their work when no one was watching. She felt the ache from the first hours. The hotel was not perfect now. But it was awake. A violinist from the gala, on a short break, approached with care and asked if he might play one piece near the lounge door as a gift. Armin thanked him and said yes. The tune he played was simple and tender, the kind that makes people look at each other with softer eyes. It followed Maya and Armin like a small blessing as they stepped aside to let staff continue their tasks. The rain outside had fallen to a gentle drip from the awnings. The sign above the door shone the same as before, but inside, light felt different. Before midnight, as promised, each department held its 10-minute huddle. In housekeeping, Salma spoke about seeing a person first. In concierge, Bilal read the new first line. In security, the lead explained the difference between presence and pressure. At the front desk, a junior associate practiced the sentence "Let me verify that for you right now" until it sounded like second nature. Farah walked between groups, not to police them, but to hear them. She made a list of questions to answer in the morning session. None of the questions were tricks. All of them were about how to be human fast, even on a busy night. When the clock passed midnight, Armin gathered the last few team members at the desk and closed the evening with one short reminder. "Policies are tools," he said. "People are the purpose. We did not meet our purpose at first tonight. We ended closer to it. Tomorrow, we will move closer again." He did not raise his voice or his hand. He simply looked at each person and let the words be a quiet promise. Then he turned to Maya and added, softly enough for only her, "Your kindness guided this night." She answered, "Your steadiness did too." They smiled, and the lobby, still busy, felt like home for a moment earned, not assumed. Morning came with a soft gold light that touched the edges of the city. The rain had washed the streets clean. The hotel sign still shone, but the glow inside felt new. Staff arrived for the day shift and found Farah's clear memo waiting in their inboxes and printed near the time clock. It explained what happened in simple words, without blame words and without hiding facts. It listed the steps taken, the values that guided those steps, and the plan for learning. People read it slowly, some twice. They felt seen, not scolded. They felt called to be careful and kind. In the lobby, a small stand held tea, water, and a notice card, "We value every guest. If you need help or wish to share feedback, please see our guest dignity liaison." Salma stood nearby with a neat badge that read Dignity Liaison. The badge was not loud. It was clear. She carried a simple notebook and a pen. She greeted each person who came near with a warm, steady smile. When a traveler looked unsure about the check-in line, she guided them with gentle hands and plain language. She offered water. She asked, "How can I help verify for you right now?" The sentence had become a small bridge between people. Armin met with the department heads at 9 a.m. The meeting was short and focused. He did not raise his voice. He did not need to. He asked each leader to share one way they would make verification fast and dignity easy. The front desk promised a charge and check tray with phone cables so guests could show confirmations without stress. Security promised a stand beside, not behind escort approach, with soft voices first. Concierge promised to treat questions as doors, not tests. Housekeeping promised to send help signals to the desk when they noticed anyone in need. Food and beverage promised quiet comfort: tea, water, a small cookie offered without fuss when a guest looked shaken. Each promise was small enough to do today and strong enough to last. At the same time, a short public note appeared on the hotel's website and on a board near the lobby. It said the hotel had made a mistake, that it had corrected the mistake, and that it would keep learning. It mentioned the hotline for staff and the simple training that would happen every month. It did not name anyone. It kept dignity for all. A few guests stopped to read it. One guest took a photo and said, "This is how you own a problem and move forward." Reviews that day began to mention the note, the calm tone, and the feeling of care. By noon, calls and emails started to reach Farah's team. A former guest wrote to say she had once felt invisible at a different branch and now wanted to try the hotel again. A supplier offered free chargers for the new charge and check tray. A partner school asked if hospitality students could visit to observe the dignity huddle. Armin approved the school visit and asked that students shadow Salma for an hour. "Let them see what quiet leadership looks like," he said. Bilal completed his first training module that afternoon. He sat with a headset on in a small room off the staff hallway. The module asked him to choose responses in different scenarios. Each time the best choice started with a simple act: verify. When he finished, he walked out and stood at the concierge desk with a different kind of posture. Not stiff. Not proud. Just ready. That evening, he mentored 2 new associates. He had them practice the sentence, "How can I verify for you right now," until it felt natural, like saying hello. Meanwhile, HR finalized a new program born from Maya's suggestion and Armin's quick yes. They called it the Open Door Fund. It offered a small scholarship each quarter to hospitality workers from modest backgrounds who wanted to grow in the field. The first award would help pay for night classes in customer service and conflict care. A simple poster went up in the staff hall. It showed a plain door slightly open and a short line underneath: "Talent lives everywhere. Opportunity should too." Salma read it and felt the words settle in her heart like a promise she could carry. Late afternoon brought a test. An elderly man in a threadbare coat came in from the street, holding an envelope addressed to a guest. He looked nervous about the fine marble floor. He said, "I was told to give this at the desk." His voice had a tremble in it. Lena was not there now, but her former station was staffed by a junior associate who had read the memo twice and practiced the new lines 3 times. The associate smiled and said, "Thank you for bringing this. Let me verify the guest's room so we can deliver it safely. Would you like water while you wait?" The man nodded, relief loosening his shoulders. Salma stepped beside them and offered a seat. The envelope reached the right hands. The man left with his chin a little higher. Nothing dramatic happened. A habit happened. It felt like sunshine in small pieces. Not every moment was easy. A few staff whispered about the exits. They wondered if the lobby would always feel watched now. Farah held an open candle in the break room and faced those questions with respect. "We are not watching to catch," she said. "We are watching to care." She reminded them about the hotline that reached both her team and Armin's office. She promised that speaking up would not bring trouble to the person who spoke. She made space for fear and showed the shape of the path past it. People left the room quieter but lighter. Armin and Maya did not sit in an office all day. They walked slow paths through the hotel. They thanked the night janitor who had stayed late to help set the tea table. They thanked the bellhop who learned an elderly guest's name and used it kindly. They thanked the chef who prepared a small plate for a nervous traveler and sent it with a note that said, "Welcome." They did not give big speeches. They used names. They made eye contact. They let people know they were seen. That evening, as the sky turned pink, Maya prepared the private lounge once more, this time for the dinner she and Armin had planned before the rain and the lobby. She did not add glitter. She set a plain white cloth and 2 plates. She put a small vase on the table with 3 simple flowers. She placed the gift where Armin would reach it without effort. She looked around the quiet room and felt her breath come steady and deep. The surprise was not the gift anymore. The surprise was the day, the way a broken moment had become a seed for better moments. Armin arrived with a soft knock. He carried nothing but time. They sat. They ate simple food. They laughed in low voices about the way life writes its own outlines when you are brave enough to read them. He opened the gift and found a small watch with a plain leather strap. On the back, Maya had asked the shop to engrave 4 words: verify, dignity, care, always. Armin ran his thumb over the letters and swallowed. "I will wear this every day," he said. "Not for time. For truth." After dinner, they walked through the kitchen with the chef's permission and thanked the line cooks by name. They passed the staff hall and saw the evening huddles forming again, now led by day shift supervisors. They watched a front desk associate offer a charger with a smile. They saw the security lead practice a soft approach with a trainee, hands in view, voice low, question first. They saw Bilal hand a map to a guest and then pause to ask, "Is there anything else I can check for you right now?" The guest thought for a second and said, "Actually, yes." The second question found a better answer because the first question made space for it. News of the hotel's response spread in quiet ways. A florist sent a note with fresh stems for the lobby. "For a place that remembers people," it read. A regular guest sent a short message, "Proud to stay with you." Another guest left a review that said, "They made a mistake, and then they made a model." Armin replied to each one himself, even the short ones. He wrote, "Thank you. We will keep earning your trust." A week later, the first secret guest audit happened. It was simple and fair. Maya walked in wearing jeans, carrying a backpack, and asked for a small favor that required verification. The front desk checked fast and smiled first. Security stayed in the background. Concierge asked a helpful question. Housekeeping offered a hand when she reached for a door with full arms. She left a quiet scorecard with notes and 3 kind suggestions. The notes were specific: add a charger near the sofa, keep water cups ready at the small table, and remind everyone that Tone is also training. The next day, the charger appeared, the cups were filled, and a small sign behind the desk read, "Tone Trains." 2 months later, the Open Door Fund announced its first award. The recipient was a night porter who dreamed of becoming a front office trainer. He held the small certificate like a treasure. Salma hugged him lightly and said, "Teach them to see." He nodded, eyes bright. The program became a story staff told to new hires. It said, "This place opens doors that were once closed to people like us." It changed how people stood in their uniforms. It made pride feel simple and honest. Not every chapter closed with a ribbon. Rafiq did not return. Lena did not either. But 6 months after that rainy night, Armin asked HR to reach out to all former staff, including them, with an offer that had been part of Maya's wish from the start: if you complete our new dignity training and pass the assessment, you may reapply for roles that fit your skills. We believe in growth. 2 former employees from other branches took the offer. They passed. They came back ready to serve with new hearts. Armin welcomed them himself. He said, "We are not a place that builds walls with our mistakes. We build bridges." One evening, a delivery rider stepped into the lobby for a pickup. His jacket was wet from a sudden shower. A trainee at the desk looked up and smiled. "You can wait here," she said, offering a towel and tea. "What name should I verify on the order?" The rider blinked, surprised by kindness in a place with marble floors. He gave the name, warmed his hands on the cup, and left with a small nod that looked like hope. Maya watched from a chair near the window and felt her eyes grow soft. The line between guest and person had thinned in the best way. The hotel did not become perfect. No places. But it became awake to itself. People spoke up sooner. Verifications happened faster. Tone stayed calm longer. When pressure rose, the training lines rose with it, like strong rails on a high bridge. Verify before judgment. Protect dignity. Assume good intent. Escalate with care. Staff could say the lines out loud, but more important, they could do them without saying a word. On the next anniversary, the city gave them clear skies. Armin and Maya walked into the hotel side by side, wearing simple clothes the way they always had. The doorman knew their names, but he greeted them the same way he greeted everyone. The front desk smiled, ready to verify anything, ready to offer a seat without being asked. In the lounge, a violinist played a quiet tune. The watch on Armin's wrist caught the light. The words on the back were hidden, but they lived in the way he stood, in the way Maya smiled, and in the way the hotel opened its doors not only wide, but wise.